welcome to our 125th episode of Guerrilla Radio. I'm Joe Caprino, and I have Mike here, and we had a nice little pre-show going on.
Talked about a lot of stuff under the sky right there.
Yes.
Got a lot of our system.
Yes. We're going to start charging that. Those are super silverbacks who get this to listen to the pre-show of just all sorts of fun things we get to talk about. We'll
have to start doing that like the Hunger Games.
Yes.
Like you get drawn on a random lottery from every regional. From every semi-state, we get two tributes.
Yes. Yeah, that was a fun little pre-show. So that's why we're a little bit late, and plus my wife got home late from trying to get some stuff for the Snowmageddon. Jeezy Pete's, we split up. I went to Costco. I've never seen Costco out of bread in my life. So
I'm just gonna wing it.
Yeah, we were gonna get stuff. We need to get groceries, and then all of a sudden everything was empty. So we end up getting what we needed. So we'll be good for Snowmageddon. We'll just do live episodes. We'll be snowed in. We'll just do episodes all day.
But not to get off topic in like the first 2 minutes we're on show, but like, don't you ever isn't it crazy? Like even when there's like a snow apocalypse or Snowmageddon, what's this one? Snowmageddon or Ice Storm 99 or whatever. Like McDonald's is still open.
Yeah.
Like those dudes still gotta go in.
Yeah.
So like at the end of the day, I just gotta walk a couple blocks if I'm really hungry.
Nice.
They make those guys come in. Those guys are gonna be on shift.
Yeah. Bad thing is I have my wife and I both have pretty good off-road vehicles, and we both live the closest almost possible to our work, so we're like, crap, we gotta go in.
Man, Eric's only getting 3 inches. I don't like it.
Yeah, we're getting like 10 to 12, 10 to 15, I think, so that's gonna be fun.
Allegedly.
I will.
What's Cheryl Scott say? She's the Chicago weather woman.
I don't know. Supposedly I'm writing the news now, so
I see it, man. That's what I said, man. Fake news out here. Joe, word for word, writing write-ups in the news, live news.
Yeah, there's we retweeted it. There's just so you guys know, it's kind of I don't want to leave an inside joke, but one of the news guys from Fort Wayne was asking me about Ocampo, and tell him, how many girls have won sectional and stuff, and and I said, only, not I'd say about 10 probably. I don't know, an exact number, but I think we've had quite a few, and there are 3 actually this year. And I said the last one to qualify for state was word for word Kayla Miracle, and this past year she wrestled in this little tournament called the Olympics. If you listen to it, he says the exact same thing. So
I was gonna give Dave Melton like a hard time too. Like he retweeted, like, here's the article that all this stuff come from. And we were like literally giving him like updates from the meet when we were live. And then I go on there and it's like a locked article. I'm like, come on, man. Like you can't use our information then not let us like see the article.
Yeah. No, that's I've purchased quite a few a couple like 4 or 5, 3 to 6 month subscriptions to papers around the state. Actually, you can get, if you get the good deals on the big ones, you get them for like $1 for 6 months. You just got to remember to cancel that before they renew, or you're going to get hit with like $150 for a month.
Yeah, so. That'd be terrible.
Yes. It's not like...
I don't read the paper enough.
Yeah.
In the NWI, they do this thing I was telling you. Like, if you get arrested and, like, fuck, knock on wood, man. I never want to get arrested. Like, they put your paper, like, right in there. Like, so every Monday, I like to scroll through the NWI, like, arrests and just see, like, which one of my friends... My cat's over here knocking down cans.
You can come get it from me, Bricky, whenever you want. If you can take me down, you can get it. Okay.
I would rather have snow than ice too.
Yes.
And I would rather have snow than like negative, like what it was last week, like what it was like negative 20.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Snow's a little bit easier to manage, and hopefully it gets out of the way. We're able to have regionals. Everyone's able to practice. Well, except for one team. Somebody has to take one for the team at every regional. Okay? So one team has every regional, and we have to go look through the regionals who has the least amount of kids. We're going to have to, I'll tell you right now, I'll tell you who we need to keep an eye out for Fort Wayne. For Carroll, it would be, I'm bringing it up here in a second.
Dang, man, you're gonna put them out there like that?
We got the teams that maybe have a heavyweight. Okay, like who has a heavyweight? Wayne. Oh, I can't see who they have. But yeah, if you have a heavyweight, not cutting weight, don't practice on Friday. You don't need practice. So just give everyone a pound and we're happy. Said, yeah. So just take one for the team. Be a team player. That's all we're asking. Every regional have one team that doesn't practice on Friday, and give everyone a pound. That's not that hard.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, we used to love. I think Nathan went out here. I seen that. East Chicago before the Harvest Classic used to wrestle like in Chicago, and we'd come in with that extra pound.
Yeah,
that's a glorious day.
Yes,
that's a bad thing. Hector's trying to drive himself crazy right now.
I can tell you, it's one of. How many formulas? There's 8 of the 12 formulas are used. No, 7 of the 12 formulas are used. I can tell you which 7 formulas. You have a 1 in 7 chance of picking the right brackets. I can promise you that.
That's how we do it, man. That's how it's done.
Yeah. So yeah, semi-state's Saturday night's gonna be crazy. Hopefully we get the brackets up and out. I'm already working on the spreadsheets. Got some new updated regional brackets that are gonna be coming out, a little bit better formatting. With making sure everything fits in and everything. So I'm gonna get that in there. So, Andy, if no one of your kids cuts weight, then you guys can take one for the team on Friday. It should be a light practice anyway. Go have them go to the fort and practice on their own. You just can't practice at your place. So that's how we got it figured out. So Andy's taking one for the team. Everyone in Carroll. So
yeah, we were just talking about it. Man. And then those guys come in like 1 pound heavy. So then you're that guy, Joe.
Yeah.
Then you're the guys from these semi-state brackets early, and they're changing them.
Yes. Yeah. So it's a good week of wrestling. I guess we can, since we have a couple Bulldogs in the house. That was pretty interesting what they did there. We're about 7 or 8 sectionals that were really close. There was one that was not very close.
Yeah. I think we've kind of hit on it a couple times this year, and Crown Point's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah,
they're not bad.
Yeah.
And it seems that some of their guys, obviously, if you look in the rankings, they have a lot of highly ranked guys. And I was talking to Cameron today just through text, and he was like kind of doing like the math, and Cathedral is pretty good at figuring out like if they have a shot and who's going to win it. And he's like, those guys are pretty tough, man. It's going to be really hard to beat them.
Yeah.
But like the top guys are the top guys, and some of their guys that are like in the middle tier, like showed out. Like I know they've been telling me for a couple weeks that like Captor was going to beat Cortez, and I know Cortez had beat him a couple times. Turn that around. Mm-hmm. Cruz pulling out, that was tight. Like, obviously they're tough guys. You had 1 and 2 there with Jesse Mendez and Cole Solomey. Cole Solomey was undefeated, 128. And like Cole Solomey is really tough. He got 2 medals. Yeah. Jesse's really, really tough too.
Yeah.
Ranked matchup. Sam Goins wrestling really well. I'm trying to think. Whites, they got a guy that started the year as a JV guy, like varsity 2 or whatever we call it now, but won a spot, beat a ranked wrestler to get in the lineup, and now he's winning the sectional, and he beat the guy that won the other sectional already to get in the rankings. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's people are asking if this ever happened before. 2003, they went to what we call the super sectionals with about 8 to 12 teams. I do not believe it's happened. I know the team that I kind of thought might have done it would have been Perry. Perry, I know, has had a fairly weak sectional with a lot of city teams and stuff. And I went through when they were pretty strong, 2011 through 2015. They got 13 champions, 1 runner-up. I think that was Dylan Falkenberg's the one that kept them from the perfect score. And who's pretty darn good wrestler by the way.
Yeah.
So, but every year there'd be one or two. I think that another year they had 12. They had they might have had 12 a couple times, but they've had some. Prairie was pretty close, but before, I mean, I do not believe it's happened before. In my short memory of that, I mean, it would be pretty big, something that you'd remember, like, oh, I think it happened here. Modern Day has always had some pretty solid sectionals.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I thought possibly that 03 Modern Day team, but they'd have been the 8th then, right?
Yeah,
that'd have been
yeah.
Mauer and Coughlin and those guys. But I mean, like, that section's not that bad. Like, there's there, and I think some of those other teams that were in there at that point were still pretty strong.
Yeah, I guess I can check that. I didn't look that far back. But before that, there were 4 to 6 teams in the sectionals, so I would assume that had happened. I don't.
Some of those there were some bad sectionals back then.
Oh yeah, I mean, when there's 4 to 6 teams, I mean, you could have had a decent team. You didn't even have to have you didn't even have to have a national level team like a Crown Point is right now, and that would have been. Let's see, modern day. Nope, Chad Regary.
Yeah,
they had 13 in 2000. You're right, 2013 or 2003. They had 13. Chad Regary probably double overs and launched him.
That's so.
Actually, no, they didn't even have a placer in the top 4, so they didn't qualify their heavyweight.
I think that there's like, I mean, obviously and it's not like Lake Central's a good team. They do a good job. They got a couple medalists in their lineup. Or they have a medalist, a couple, guys that have been at state. You got Kinky Valley's got a couple guys that are really good. I think Lowell's got a couple guys. It's pretty impressive, and it's impressive what Coach Bradbury's done in Hanover his first year. I think they'll be stronger. It's just that we talked about. It's a really good team, and they're going to be tough for a long time, and it's really impressive. Like you said, like we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that for a long time or ever. 14 champs.
Yep. Let's see. I'm looking. Lawrence North had a pretty good team. They had
5, right? Would that be?
Yeah, 03, they had 11. And they didn't have quite 11.
I think 05 was a really good team. Like Reese Humphrey, Mike Albert, Luke Appling, or not Appling, Zach Appling, Thomas Johnson, Mo Guns.
Nope. They didn't win at 106. But they also had Cathedral, North Central.
Tyler Panko. Who was that? Who was their 106?
It was Chris Shaler in 2005.
They had a good squad though. That was a good team.
Yeah, I mean, Cathedral scored 262, and so Cathedral. I mean, that was a Cathedral versus Lawrence North duel in the finals, pretty much. Yeah. So that's, I mean, and like you said, it's, nothing against Perry, and when they had their runs there, it still was they have a lot of city schools and stuff, and in the Crown Point sectional is no slouch, especially with someone like Lake Central, who also qualified 14 for state. So
yeah, I think and we've talked about like kind of the breakdown. The LaPorte sectional is going to feed in there. I actually told one of the coaches from Crown Point, if they win all 14 this weekend, all rounds are on me.
Yes. Let's see.
But you're bringing in Christian Carroll will be coming in. Obviously, he's really good, and Hunter Whitesnick's really good. Ashton Jackson, returning champ. DeMarcos. But like looking at the East Chicago semi-state as a whole, and I'm sure we'll look at some of the other stuff, but like the worst case scenario for those guys is kind of going to be taken away. Like a lot of their guys are ranked really high in the semi-state, and obviously we'll get the rankings don't mean anything, which is great. But but you look at that and you're saying, okay, like cool, Clark's not going to draw Christian Carroll in the ticket round, which is probably a death draw for anybody in the country, right?
Yes. There's only one person that can probably beat him right now, and he's at heavyweight.
Yeah, and maybe it'd be like I think that he'd probably kind of go that route too, right? White Nick's probably the worst draw for anyone in the semi-state at heavyweight. DeMarco is one of the tougher draws at 120. Tatini's probably toughest draw would be Torres, who's also in the same regional. I think Gendris is going to be pretty heavy favorite there. So you'll probably miss Bailey, who's really good. But man, you have like a lot of your bad draws are going to be coming from that regional.
Yeah. That's
you're not, and that's not to like dismiss what the Portage regional is going to be or the Hobart regional or Lafayette or South Bend, but it's going to be hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there, you got some national. You're not getting like okay, cool. You don't believe state rankings, great, right? Cool. But like you start throwing national rankings on there and like Division I guys, those guys are a lot harder to put out in that ticket round.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. Obviously those draws are uber important. I still want to do it.
The most unpredictable. Sorry, my cat just jumped on top of my refrigerator. I gotta send this to my kid. The most like unpredictable round of the state, like the two is like the semi-state ticket round because there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just a random draw. Like sectionals is seeded, and like it could be very random too. And then the regional like feeds 1 through 4, and then semi-state throw it out the window. It doesn't matter. Like we don't care. It's blind. You're a champ. You're 2-3 doesn't matter. Like some 3s will have better draws than 2s. And then the state quarterfinals also. There's no real rhyme or reason to that either.
Yeah. So yeah, those are. I mean, championships are won, and it's crazy. I still want to do a just live react to these draws, but I know that would not be a clean version of the podcast.
No, that's one of those ones where you see like real like, oh, you got a lot of swear words.
We need to get actually what we need to get like Snyder. We need to get like Schaefer. We need to get actually anyone from down south because those draws are just gonna be absolutely just crazy. And then, maybe some, just bring in a couple coaches from, you cannot look at the brackets until we start bringing them up. And they're like, no, you've got to be kidding me. Things
we would have to have them like, like on script. Cause there's no way they would put it like they wouldn't wait for it. There's no chance. Yeah. There's too much anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah. But now that we have a awesome, ready to go, spreadsheet, that's how I cheat and do all my brackets, guys. Just so you guys know, I cheat. That all I do is plug in the formula after we get the and Cameron's been helping me out with like pulling results. All I do is plug and pull. Boom, they're on there. Rankings, everything looking. The format's looking good. So we're gonna be, as soon as we get that draw, it's gonna be pretty easy to put in there. So I'm excited to be able to put it. But yes, getting all those coaches and stuff that'd be awesome. Just because that reaction like. Holy cow, you got to be kidding me. The one draw we did not need. I wouldn't want to do it. I know that. Looking at Fort Wayne, like, no.
No. Me and Eric used to do that. Like, me and Eric would do, like, the live call. Like, hey, we're gonna look at this and go from there. But,
yeah. We'll get on. We'll get me, you, and some people just get on there just to do a call. That'd be fun. But, yeah, hopefully.
They, but I mean, still like a lot of really good sectionals. Mooresville sectional is it Mooresville? Yeah. That thing just as you're like looking at results, you're like, man, this is gonna be messy next week. Mm-hmm. Like some upsets, some like guys wrestling up, and it's already really tough. Like you're looking at like 126 became like real messy, right? Yeah. You get it like you automatically you get like a update. You're like. Joey Butler gets his first loss in the semis. You're like, okay, now you're trying to see like, so who's going to be over there at 26? You got Haynes and you got, you're like, oh man, but at least it'll be a ranked guy, but maybe it won't be that. And then you see like Trevor Holt loses. You're like, oh wow. So it's going to be Butler or Haynes or Holt and Haynes first round.
Haynes first round, number 8 and 9. Yeah. So you got top 10 guy going home.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. And both of those guys are really good, but that was like one of the things Evansville has become so good, which, like everyone says it goes in phases, right? Yeah. Back in the 80s when I was a young baby, they said like Fort Wayne was really good and the Muncie area obviously was producing all the champs. Yep. And then, Obviously, I think in the early 90s is Newcastle, right? Newcastle was really good.
Yeah. Newcastle
I
was a
don't
little
know.
bit Newcastle was a little bit down early 90s. Actually, late 90s, early 2000s. Really were they
Yeah,
were down.
when, you know, and Modern Day had a good run, like 2003, I think they had like a ton of champs, like a ton of guys in the finals. But like, you know, like the 2000s when you had that like stretch where like East Chicago or what Maryville was at the time was really good. And then it became Newcastle again, and Newcastle's a little down. And now it's Evansville, and Evansville's really good. I still think there's going to be a lot of champs out of East Chicago. But I don't think it's as like overall depth that is, you know, as deep as it normally would be, you know?
Yeah. Fort Wayne's gonna have 14 champs, just so you know. Mark it down.
Okay.
Write that
Well,
down.
how many bananas are we putting on that? Because I'll gamble that too.
I make the bananas as my own fictional cryptocurrency, so
we were the original cryptocurrency, man. Banana coin. But yeah, I mean, like you had like some really good matches there, and then so you start like trying to look and see where those guys are going at. You're trying to see like, you know, Weems loses to Hutchinson there, so you're trying to see like the matchups. So for Brownsburg, and they're going to be right in the mix. They're obviously a national ranked team in Center Grove. Like your semi-state's almost going to start at your regional.
Yeah.
Like you're starting early. Like you're going to have to like win some really tough matches to put yourself in position early on to like try to miss guys from, you know, Modern Day, things like that. You know, you got like Luke Rio knocking off the number one. I think he was the only number one that lost this week, right? Was Hockaday?
Yeah.
And Luke Rio is incredibly tough.
Yeah, he's real tough, and that was a big win. Obviously, you got to do it again. I mean, that's some of the conversations we had with some kids, you know, that had, you know, good days. Like, you got to run it back to this week. I mean, he's got to run it back. I mean, and Hockaday has Ash from Monrovia right off the bat, number 14, so ranked guy. I know I'll probably have number 10, LaRocca. And, you know, Rio has to get through Brennan Leonard of Martinsville, who's
not fun, right?
Yeah, there's no, you know, and Tyler Gentry. I don't know if that's Robbie's little brother, but I mean, he might be about half the size or 1/8 the size of Robbie, but Mooresville.
But so like those guys are gonna. I think that's part of the game too, because you're gonna have such a tough way to get there. You look at it like that, and then you're just like, man, like, what if they lose a guy here? Okay, like cool. Like, what if the Hockaday, and obviously we don't know the draws, but Hockaday, Rio loser, or any of those guys are gonna have to go through probably Schaefer down south.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, there's a Schaefer, and I have to pull up the rankings to kind of see where they all are. But yeah, that's gonna be absolutely crazy. And as I guess before we even get too far, Robbie Kalali. Yeah, you got Schaefer, you got Donnie Feeler coming out of Jeffersonville, and then you got the next best is Walter Hagedorn from Tell City, out of
who's also pretty good too.
Yeah, he's pretty solid. I mean, that's not an easy match, but just as a heads up, the rankings are locked. So people, I don't know, we still have to explain that every year. Rankings are locked, and they're not going to change. So we're going to let them roll and see how they do.
Maybe this year, if we get there, we'll do like when we just. I don't know, man. That's such a risky thing to put like a ranking for the 16 when they qualify, because that'll probably make people so much more mad.
Yes.
They get so mad when they're not in the rankings before the state tournament. I couldn't even imagine like oh, this guy's still doubting me.
Well, then you'd have to do it based on. I mean, you'd have to do it based on who you think's going to win every night. I mean, you might. That's just pick'ems. In all honesty, that's pick'ems.
No, you can't do that, man, because then I'm going to give Caleb, you know, like a heads up.
Yeah.
Then they can kind of pick against me, and I had to lie on some of those so they don't know. I try to lie on those texts. Give them bad information.
You always planting those seeds of bad information just to see if they run with it. Oh man, that Carroll kid at 132 is gonna win it. So they're starting to put all this. So, Amont wants to say hi. By the way,
hey, Mont. What were the sectionals that were like real close for the that were down to the wire. You said there.
Yeah, there are quite a few. Plymouth beat Wawasee by a point.
Wow.
Elkhart over Jimtown by half a point.
Wow.
Prairie
Was there any
Heights.
really close matches in that one? Where
Was,
like they're head to head, like a toss up?
I'm sure there was. I mean, there was quite a few. Plus, the thing about that one, and I didn't look at the brackets. I didn't go deep diving into it. That section only has 7 teams. So if I look at it, wherever everything is, there's this website that I go to. I believe the number 1 seed gets a bye first round. No, they
Really?
they randomly drew the bye. It looks like maybe. Let's see. They randomly drew the bye, which is interesting because they have a bye. So that means somebody gets the quarter or the semifinals, but they don't get that pinpoint that they would probably, a top 4 seed would probably get a pin in that first round match. So there's 2 points that's hanging out there. I wonder how many. I can pull this up right here. How many buys like Jimtown had, because they had 5 buys, and how many did Elkhart have? Oh, they both had 5 buys.
And like it had to come down the wire because Elkhart, I'm sure their heavyweight was the last champ, right?
Yeah, Elkhart was the last one. He got a pin in 41 seconds. What did Jimtown have? Jimtown usually has some good big guys. Yeah, their guy got 5th. He got a pin too. They didn't have a 220. It looks like. So very interesting. I mean, just looking at that. I mean, obviously you could find half a point.
4.
Yeah. So that's crazy to see that they. I mean, half a point. There's wrong thing. The other ones. DeKalb, the same regional DeKalb beat Prairie Heights by 2 points. And I think they had a couple head-to-heads later in the day. Delta over Yorktown by 4.
That's close.
Maggart's a good coach. He's just horrible at spelling. And I finally have I sent him a message last night. I said, "How do we spell Mikey Calamani?" Because you spelled it 16 different ways. And he did get he actually. I was like, I want a copy of the birth certificate. I want verification. He got me the next best thing, picture of his Instagram profile. So I got the right spelling. So he
Nice.
I go, that's as good as a birth certificate. But Oak Hill and Western, those two battle it out at sectional and regional every year. Oak Hill won by 6. Dude, those I don't know if there's been more than like a 5-point sectional win in the last 6 or 7 years between those two. Down south at Bloomington North, Terre Haute South, Owen Valley, and Bloomington South. Terre Haute South wins by 1.5 points, and 8.5 points behind where it was Bloomington South. So that was pretty close. And then Castle over Heritage Hills by a point. So, I mean, it's crazy to see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sectionals that, I mean, almost half of them were, within a couple of points, a pin here or there, or a kid, getting 5th instead of 6th, that type of stuff, of someone else winning, which is pretty cool. Good for the competition, good for, the sport that, there's a lot of good competition throughout the state. And these are happening in pretty much every semi-state except for Newcastle. So
yeah, that's pretty exciting overall. Just, that's big for a lot of those programs. And I know like going into, just how many guys you can advance, get you an opportunity to wrestle the team state too.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. And that's going to be, I know, I sent, Adrian the information late Friday. Had some family things to take care of, so I couldn't get on it as quick as I would like to. And so I think he said that's going to come out Thursday or Friday. So, that should be pretty, just as a heads up that you guys, everyone's always looking for that stuff. That should be coming out soon, so keep your eyes out on it about Thursday or Friday for all that fun information. So, any other good sectional talk or any regionals? Any more regionals we want to look at? I have my nice brackets all up. I got some new ones that'll be coming out, so you guys know. Any big match? I mean, I know there's a ton of good matches.
Yeah, I think you know, you have upsets throughout the state, whether it's you know, maybe it's not an upset, but a rankings upset. You're gonna get some, you know, interesting first round matchups at the regional. You're gonna have some opportunities for some you know, girls to qualify. I think that some girls put themselves in, you know, good position. I know they have a couple champs.
Yeah, there's 3 champs this year. So it was Ocampo, uh,
one of the Clarks, correct?
Campbell's, yeah, Campbell's,
Yeah.
yeah, and then
Toriana Buchanan.
no, not Buchanan, the Curl.
No,
Heather Curl,
Crawl, yeah.
yeah. So as a we forgot to mention it last week. If you are a voter on the Miss Gorilla Award, we should be announcing that probably later this week. I'm waiting for some more votes. That's pretty. That is a very close race for Miss Gorilla Award, which is kind of cool to see. Waiting for a few more votes. We got a couple more in today. I haven't checked that. It is, yeah, the top 3 girls are all separated by like 4 points. That's pretty. You get 5 points for We send out a ballot. They vote for your top 5. You get 5 points for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for each position. So, and the girl that has the most first place votes isn't even in the top 3. So that kind of tells you how crazy this. I mean, it's pretty interesting to see. We have about 20 voters right now. We have a few more that need to. I'm gonna send out an email soon about, getting, putting your stuff in, putting your votes in for the people that have not voted yet. We have a few people that need to vote still. So, would like to see just to try to get a better, demographic of people voting. It's a lot of coaches and others from around the state that are involved in women's wrestling, and it's pretty neat to see the votes that given the girls the recognition that they want, they just not want, they need more than anything.
Yeah, I think just seeing like where the leaders are at and stuff, and I think it's always interesting, especially when we do like the Mr. Griller and the awards at the end, just how different points of the state like vote that way, but that's one I think is pretty close, and generally those are pretty close too, especially for like Mr. Gorilla is never like something way outside the box,
Yeah.
It's never like, oh, I'm voting for Joe because he's my buddy.
Yeah. So it's pretty neat to see, and
which is good.
Yeah, I mean that it's crazy to think of how close these votes are, and and it's hard to I'm looking at this, I'm like, man, for a little bit, I mean, it was like a tie for the top 2, and I'm like, oh goodness, this is going to be interesting. So
yeah,
hopefully we see some, there's going to be a little bit of, looks like there's going to be a little separation, but we still have about 10 more people that have been given ballots. I'm going to poke them again probably tomorrow morning and hopefully get some of those people to vote. And if anyone has any idea, if anyone wants to vote and has a good reason, send me a message and I might throw you a ballot. So
yeah. Is it similar to how I know we've only been doing it very like small amount of time, but is it similar how Mr. Gorilla is, if you win Mr. Gorilla, then you get a vote going forward?
Yes. And actually that is a good reminder because I did not send one out to last year's winner, Sarah Hughes. So I'm going to have to find her contact information. Got to add her to that.
Pendleton Heights looks like it's going to be a lot of Cathedral. Cathedral's pretty good. It looks like they're in a pretty good spot. Hamilton Heights obviously doing pretty good. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, we got some good matches. 220 at that's been one we talked about at a lot off the air. It's a crazy weight class in Newcastle.
Jackson Weigert of Cathedral knocked off 2 ranked guys to win his sectional. Kind of threw that all over.
Yeah,
he got 16 and number 3 in the semi-state, number 2 in the semi-state first round. I don't know. Maybe they go out and get 4 medals and prove me wrong. I don't know if we had him as ranked as high in the state at 220 from East Chicago.
Yeah,
but
there should be some good matches. A lot of ranked guys and opposite sides. I'm just kind of looking at the brackets. I mean, quite a few upsets throughout the day. There we go. Carson Johnson beat Luke Gonzalez, obviously an 8/12. Actually, no, Gonzalez gave Johnson his first loss. Technically, his first loss, 12/8. So that's gonna put Gonzalez in a little bit better spot. Dylan Graham won there. I have the brackets in regular or in order. In a couple of the weight classes, they don't have the number ones on top, which is weird. Drives me nuts. So
usually does a pretty good job this time of year, so it's never like I'm never surprised when they have a good showing and they push a lot of guys through. But there should be a lot of good matches there. I think it's a pretty solid one at Castle. I mean, obviously, you have Mater Day there, who's always really good. They're one of the top teams in the state, but a lot of really tough guys there, and I know a lot of guys ranked in the semi-state from that regional also. Per Triple B.
Yeah, Triple B went 16 deep.
Not bad, not bad.
There's only one way Triple B does his stuff. He goes big. He's a big guy. Everything goes big. So, yeah, there are gonna be some. Obviously, you got number 1 and 2 at 195, and what is Willman? Willman's number 4, 1, 2, and 4. So you got Purdy and so Purdy got Sollers back, or no? Oh, they didn't wrestle yet this week. Okay, yeah, they were Willman over or Sollers over Willman. Trying to figure that out. So you'll have Purdy and Sollers in round 3. So that should be a
Zirkelbach possibly, but Zirkelbach will have Logan Ellis, Castle there.
Yeah, that's you got Jared McKinley from Tecumseh. I didn't know he got some more eligibility. I love looking at you're just looking at some names like this, and obviously Castle has Lee Spencer.
Yeah. So I think that's always a really good, obviously a really good regional.
Yeah, it's going to feed right into a tougher semi-state. So.
Yeah, Mooresville is 82. Mooresville overall is like pretty tough, but Mooresville 82. I know that's one that they were talking about. In the season, you got where's 82 at? Right here. It's like cross sections. You're gonna have Buchanan, Henry. You're gonna have Bullocks, Ramsey, Liam Farmer. Like off top, you're gonna have 4 guys in there with 2, 3, possibly 10 losses combined in the semis.
Yeah. Jeez.
Pretty good.
Yeah. It's pretty nice to have those records on there. I got those updated today too. If they made it to regional.
It is.
So they should be updated.
Where was I think Westfield Heavy. Where was trying to think.
Oh, they got
the North Montgomery heavyweight is pretty I bet that's gonna be interesting. Let's see. You have Don Burgett, who just got another win over Big Mike.
And then Big Mike win of the year over Big Mike.
Big Mike got Eli Smith first round from Zionsville, who's had a nice season. You also got Jack Milligan in there from Carmel, so those 4 should be pretty good.
Did Eli Smith beat him earlier this year?
Beat Big Mike? He's had some good wins. I don't know if he beat Big Mike this year, but I know he's had some tough ones.
Someone. I thought that he might have at one time. But he had Big Mike. Lost to it was Justice who I was thinking of.
Yeah, Jeff's tough to rank, 25 and like 11. Has some solid wins, some close losses with some good guys, and he has some ones that's really hard to look at. Like, wow, man, that's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, that heavyweight in that area is pretty loaded. Yeah, Eli Smith's pretty solid. He has quite a few losses, but Zionsville wrestles a good schedule. I was looking at the where's my rankings? They I always like to look at who has the most significant matches and stuff. In the database, Big Mike has 17 significant matches for a heavyweight. That's pretty impressive because sometimes it's hard to find matches for a heavyweight. So he leads the league. Next is Juliana Ocampo from New Haven. A lot of those are girl ones too. So, but it's not a. She still wrestled a pretty good schedule. And Noah Klauser, obviously, you're going to see littered with Center Grove, Cathedral, those types of people. So pretty interesting to see big, heavyweight getting that many significant matches. It means he's going to be battle tested and ready.
Yeah, I think Jay County should be a pretty good regional. We talked about Delta and Yorktown coming down the wire. Then you're going to pull in Belmont, right?
Yep, pulling Belmont, Adams Central, and Adams Central, Jay County. Yeah, that's going to be some. You got Levi Johns and Aiden Bollinger at 106. That should be a tough final. Who else do we have? We have
Mosier, Ike Rubel, 31-1, 32-1. Tay Curtis is in there.
Yeah, you got Tay Curtis. You got Carter Overby from Yorktown's pretty solid. Tony Wood, Gavin Cook, Cape Stevens, Gavin Cook. That should be a good first round match. Number 3 and 7 in the semi-state. 132 is going to be pretty solid. You got Landon Birch, Ethan Riley, Logan Ullman was a state qualifier last year. Dalton Tuttle from Delta that won a pretty solid sectional. 38 Litchfield and Dylan Tuttle in the semifinals.
First match you have Gurniser and Silas Loshi.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough. Yeah, 38's pretty tough, and then the winner gets Cameron Clark. So you got three guys with state experience right in there, and then you throw in a Dylan Tuttle who's pretty darn good. Silas Lochi's pretty good. 145. Toby Abbott, Brandon Kinnick, pretty good. And you got Evan McAfee, Colton Ramos, AJ Dole, Alex Curry round 4 or 5. Actually about 4, because I think they wrestled 3 times, dual, conference, and sectional. Throwing a Garrett Manley there. AJ Myers, Jonah Jones, first round. Number 5 and 7 in the semi-state. Let's see. I think 220 should be, or 182. You got number 5 and 22 first round.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Hunter Page, returning medalist. Yeah. First medalist ever for Monroe County or Central, right?
Monroe Central, yep. Jackson Ingento. I know I pronounced that wrong. And Henry Kukulhan, number 19 and 23, possibly at 195. 220 has 4 ranked guys. So that'd be.
Yeah, Jackson New and Keegan Martin right off the bat. That's going to be tough. I know Jackson New was in the rankings early. He's on the watch list.
Yeah, New was a regional champ last year. So that should be a real good one. But yeah, a lot of good matches there. Obviously, that's always a good sectional or regional. Should be. I mean, it's gonna be interesting watching. There's not just a ton of storylines to watch. As we're getting into regional, get those semi-state draws. Those will be, a lot of fun to dissect Saturday night. Probably gonna have to have a nice beverage or two. So. Kind of excited to see, just always looking forward to seeing those draws and seeing what where guys are drawing, being placed. So,
yeah, I think I seen Joe Hansen. Those guys kind of Hobart. Yeah, the Hobart regional looks pretty good. I know DeAndre Black, 25-1 from Hammond Central, got a good win over Joey Cantu. So Cantu and Ishan Tolbert, first match. I know Tolbert got beat early on. Seth Albin with a good win over Ishan Tolbert at the sectional. So that's a pretty good top 4. 2 female wrestlers in there. Villarreal from Griffith. I know she had a really good, I think she's pretty small. I think she was 98 at the girls' state. I believe she was 3rd. So that'd be a tough one right off the bat. You got Jeffrey Bailey in there, 28-0. So pretty good top 4 there. Yeah. 13, Trevor Shammer ranked. I don't think there's a lot of state ranked guys there. Owen Button. Owen Button had a really good win over Johnny Cortez. Pinned him. I think the last duel for the DAC after the DAC tournament, I believe. Pinned him like pretty in the first period, like a minute 15 or something.
Wow, that's pretty good. Yeah. Got Bone from, let's see, a lot of semi-state ranked guys here. Got Maldonado versus Schultz, number 6 and 8 in the semi-state first round. Man, who does these rankings where these guys are getting 4th at sectional?
I know, man. It's tough. I blame that Portage sectional, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's good to see Ruben Padilla in there for Maryville. I know he's been in and out of the lineup. 11-2 sectional champ.
Got going down Johnny McGill.
Johnny McGill.
Number 8, got Manlo Hood. Let's see. These middleweights where they put the number 2 guy on top just screws me up mentally.
Man, Shenandoah sectional has one wrestler at 113, make weight, and he qualified, man. Sectional champ.
Yeah. They got 3 people who are going to qualify for semi-state just by weighing in. That's always fun. Simpson versus Dean, potentially at 182. That should be a good one. Dean's undefeated right now. Simpson has 3 losses, but he wrestles a pretty good schedule. Yep.
Over at 82 has 2 undefeated?
No.
Who's the other undefeated?
No, I said Dean's undefeated, but Simpson is not.
Dean went out on a real tough Garrett invite. So I think that could be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Simpson's really good as the state finals last year.
Yeah.
Brian Gonzalez, a late entry at 195 from Maryville. I know when I released the last semi-state rankings, Joe was like, he's not in there. I was like, those guys said that he was going to be in there.
Yeah. Well, there's another okey doke down south. Columbus East pulled that on us with Eli Pollitt. That was, he was right on the fringe of being ranked, and he wasn't in the sectional lineup, and then he ended up going in there and win the damn thing.
220, I think, at that regional is pretty good. Victor Rodriguez, Hammond Central, 30-3. Ethan Silver right off the bat, 23-6. The Hobart kid is senior. I believe he's a Hammond kid at 1.2, 24-9. And then Corey Hill, 24-4. So that's a pretty good weight there. Those guys are feet in.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely always pretty tough sectional there.
Yeah, you got Teddy Sparks and Trey White possibly for, I'm sure they've wrestled a few times.
Fourth or fifth time they've gone at it.
Yeah. And one of them, whoever loses, might draw into White Neck.
Yeah, I think Peyton Kendall, returning state qualifier there. So it definitely you want to be a regional champ, no matter what. But when you got that Crown Point regional feeding in too, you really want to miss those guys.
Yeah.
You don't want to get Christian Carroll. If you're Corey Hill, you don't want to be second and then wake up, Sunday morning and find out you got Christian Carroll for a ticket.
Yeah. Definitely.
Or at 38, you want to make sure if you're Ty Guerrero, you don't want to be, getting Jesse Mendez. Like Cervantes, you got the win, right? You beat him there. So that was his only loss, was Herrera at the Harvest Classic. I hadn't seen too many Griffith results this year, and Cervantes come back and get the dub. His brother's doing pretty good at North Central also.
Yeah, he was the conference wrestler of the week a week or two ago. I saw that. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Speaking of college, we got some pretty cool matches coming up this weekend on Friday and Sunday. Chad Rad versus Michich, and then he wrestles Lee on Sunday. So potentially, that Red Michich match we wanted during high school, didn't get, and then Red versus Lee round 4 or 5. So
Nick's taking the last couple.
Yeah.
So that'll be exciting. Obviously, you want to see the Indiana matchups. You got to see Gable and Paris again this past weekend. Not great for Mason.
No, but you got the best thing is you got to see on Friday night. You got to see some Indiana guys at the IU Penn State versus Iowa duel. That's pretty cool to see. Drew Hillebrand with a big win. Nick Lee beats Ironman again. Go Nick Lee.
Yeah, Nick Lee's pretty good. He's pretty good at wrestling, right?
Yeah, and he gasses you pretty
Oh,
bad.
he's a machine, man. He was a machine in high school too.
Yeah.
It's always interesting, not to get sidetracked from all this great high school talk. It's always interesting to see how guys' styles translate to the next level. Like some some you think, well, they don't, but some that you see in they do a good job. I didn't know how Nick Lee's style would translate, but he did a really good job, and obviously he's national champ.
Yeah.
But it's a good time to be an Indiana college wrestler. You have so many guys right now that are doing well at a high level.
Yeah, definitely. It's been fun to watch. I mean, what is it? 20% of the, was it 20% of the winners of the Iowa versus Penn State match were wrestled at IPO, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, not bad. How many wrestlers did you guys have the first year you did it?
165-ish, 60-ish. It says 171, but there are some people that didn't show up. But yeah.
And now you got guys filling out the lineup for probably one of the best college duels of the year.
Yeah, it's pretty neat to see. There's quite a few guys that have wrestled in the event throughout the year, so it's neat to see that and kind of say, oh wow, these guys are winning matches on the big stage. So
I actually was sending that text out today, Joe Hansen. If all those guys stayed in state, what do you think that lineup would look like? Hildebrandt, you probably cut Michik down that point. Like he probably could make 30, right?
Yeah.
Nick Lee.
And then you probably bump. I don't think we have a 49, so you have to put Red
Brooks or Chad, right? This is a bigger Rook, Graham Brooks, 49.
Yeah, you put Red would bump up. We can bump Red up. He's big enough to handle 49. Yep.
Brayton. 65, maybe Joe. Who would be the next 65?
I think Joe probably. 74.
DJ Washington.
I think DJ's at 84 now. So
DJ's at 84, so we need a 74.
Yeah. Have to go to. I'm not even sure who would be there. I don't know.
84, then DJ.
Yeah.
97. What? Davison, maybe. Maybe Silas.
Yeah,
Silas hasn't been out there.
Silas, and then you got Paris at. I mean, we like to claim Gable, but he didn't wrestle in high school in Indiana, so we have to kind of give it to Mason. But not a bad lineup there.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So yeah, I was gonna say something else, but now what is it? I can't remember what I was gonna say. Yeah, but pretty neat to see all the Indiana guys having that success at that level. Oh yeah, IU and Purdue wrestled this weekend on Saturday, which was the absolutely worst day possible to have a duel like that. That was so
yeah.
Like you got, I'm waiting for text from Mike's, not people not making weight and all that craziness that goes on, and I'm also seeing stuff from IU Purdue, which was good match. Crazy thing is, I saw a picture of Vega, with half the IU roster.
Yeah.
Moran, McIntosh, DJ Washington.
Other Moran.
Yeah. There's 4 guys there that he all coached in high school, and now they're wrestling for their biggest rival. So that's pretty interesting to see.
Isn't it like an Indiana rule that you can't like stack a high school match in college? I remember like Leroy was trying to do it one year, like Purdue, Minnesota with Portage and someone else, and I think they said he couldn't do it.
Yeah, there's a weird rule that you technically need to clear the building and then have a different event. They can't be side by side. Yeah, that is a weird.
I feel like obviously, like I think that'd be cool to have, just because you can have like an Indiana Purdue duel and maybe like 2 top teams as like an undercard. Like that'd have been cool with whoever Brownsburg, do Brownsburg and Crown Point, and then the next if you got to clear the gym, whatever, then you do IU Purdue.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I mean, you can get something like that and get a big, a lot of great matches, there. And you had the fans already built in. So, yeah, a couple Indiana matchups. Graham Rooks over Alec White. Hayden Lowry over Casper McIntosh. Nick South with a big win over Garrett Nyhouse. DJ Washington won. Thomas Pinola over Nick Willem, 10-4. So I believe, did Willem? No, Willem wrestled Silas. I was thinking Willem, because Pinola lost to Davison in that crazy match. Who Davison having the finals that year?
Was it the Delta kid or no? Cooper Nori? No.
Let's see. I have a website that I go to. He would have wrestled Hansen. He wrestled Hansen in the finals.
Brown Connolly kid. Jason was a step slow. Yes. Yeah, I don't know what the punishment would be for something like that. Is it something like as easy as a coach has to sit like 1 week?
Yeah. But if you do it, I don't, because I know Brownsburg, and I want to say Maryville was up at those duels. There's national duels in Fort Wayne, and then they had some high school duels. I mean, the Coliseum is ginormous.
Yeah.
And I believe Maryville was there too. I know Brownsburg was there, but they had some high school duels, and then someone called them in on it, and everyone's like, I didn't know that was a rule. I didn't know you couldn't. I mean, it's not like they.
Why would you call them in?
Yeah, it's someone that knows way too much about the rules. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah,
because I didn't. I mean, I'm looking on. I mean, when that kind of came out, and I don't know if someone said something to me, so I went and deep dove into the rules. I'm like, I kind of think I might see where that is, but I don't fully understand. It was, it's a archaic rule that people.
As a community, why would someone want to tell on you like that?
Yeah.
So, they try to coach suspend it.
Yeah, there's some good teams there. I don't know what. I mean, I don't. The thing is that I just say there's no set punishments for anything. So, but if you do it blatantly, I don't think that will go over well with Mr. Falkins and crew. So,
yeah,
you blatantly know that it's a rule, and then you blatantly disobey it. It'll probably anger him, and you don't want to do that.
Looked like a lot of Indiana guys. I seen Giovanni Diaz was in the lineup for Franklin Marshall, got a win. I seen the Davison brothers were for Northwestern, and they both got dubs.
Yeah, good.
So, good weekend for Indiana.
Yep, it's always fun to turn on Big Ten Network and watch Indiana guys from almost every team in the Big Ten. So pretty much any duel you watch within the Big Ten, you can probably see an Indiana guy wrestling. So.
And then now we're expanding to the ACC. I seen Cheney was in here, put a little wolf on there. North Carolina State, and Logan Frazier is gonna be at Virginia Tech, so not too bad.
Yeah. So so it should be another great weekend of wrestling. I'm looking forward to it. We're gonna have our brackets up. Hopefully, if we get the draws, the famous A1, B2. Stuff. If we get those on Saturday, we're gonna have brackets with rankings and all that good stuff on there. So I'm excited.
That'd be exciting.
So it's always a fun week on the web. Fun couple of days on the website because people are just like, holy cow, look at these matches. That's that crazy. You kind of see the path to state, which is kind of neat to see it. Everyone's on pins and needles right now. Hey, am I better off getting second or third? Am I better off getting fourth? Sometimes you're better off getting fourth. That's sectional or regional. So, you just gotta win your matches and hope that you get the draw gods are on your side. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not a regional champ, 2 and 3, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 is gonna have a champ. Sometimes you're gonna have a little easier champ that maybe, but for the most part, if you're the champ, you're probably gonna be happy with your draw. If you're 2-3, it's random.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna. We all know our draws. We all know. Everyone's been looking at who's your better draw. Who's your what are you gonna? Okay, if I win, who's the best 2 or 3 that I can hit? Who's the Everyone knows exactly what they want. At this point, you look at the rankings, you look at the top guys, and looking at the other regionals, you kind of know where your death draws are. So, looking forward to that. Russell Baxter for wimps in Ohio. That's all I gotta say. No wrestle back. Team no wrestle back.
Yeah, so it'll be exciting. I'm sure this is, probably about as clean cut. Like you get 1s and 4s, and I mean there'll be some upsets, I'm sure, and some guys will show up to wrestle, and some guys won't, and that's just kind of some ladies, and this is how it goes. But next week's gonna be, that ticker on's always crazy. There's always gonna be something that's gonna go, all nonsense in there.
Yes. Oh yeah, take out the records, take out anything, it's going to be crazy at semi-state there. So it's always that crazy round and phones blowing up of, Mike's watching 4 different semi-states and everyone's at different semi-states looking at, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I'm trying to live broadcast and I'm getting texts about guys on their backs and then you think they're losing and they're like, no, they won. So like tough. The restructure section. I thought that was going to be this year. When is that going to be, Joe?
I don't know. Johansson probably should ask Cook. Cook's the leader of the vice president of the Coaches Association. He probably knows more than I do.
Yeah, you don't have his personal number. Come on.
He has to get on here and ask us. Come on.
I don't know, man. I think it'd be interesting to see how they could restructure it.
Yeah, we were trying to play around with that. I made a map and I was trying to. Man, I don't know. That is such a cluster of it. And I kind of was like, okay, let's put 6. I think you should get about 18 teams per regional. I kept all the regionals and tried to keep everyone within a decent distance. And then all of a sudden you'd have one regional with 20, another with 14. I'm like, okay, maybe, but you can't put, like, oh, we'll move this team here, this team here, this team here. Then everyone, all these teams are like an hour and a half away from their regional. So,
yeah,
he blocked you.
Man,
nice.
I think, even sometimes we're pretty lucky. I mean, you guys are pretty close to the Coliseum, so your semi-state's not, like, your semi-state trip's not that far.
No.
Like, when you're driving to like Lafayette or Indy and you start seeing like, Seeger's pretty far from East Chicago. Attica's very far from East Chicago. And you're thinking like, man, these guys, come all the way to up here. That's terrible. Like you almost had to like get a hotel the night before,
They like Brownsburg. It's closer for Brownsburg to go to Fort Wayne than it is Evansville.
Yeah, I think we were kind of talking about it. Like, I know people are asking me about the redraw, and I was like, I don't know, man. Like in the summer, like I follow wrestling, but not as like much as I do during season. They're like, is there a chance that Brownsburg's gonna come up to Crown Point and be in that regional? And I was like, I don't know. That's not what I heard, But that'd be an incredibly tough regional.
Oh yes. Yeah, that was just doing that kind of stuff, looking at it, I'm like, holy cow, that would be absolutely. Let's see, I do have the distance. I made like a distance.
I seen Harden Baldwin made a 2-hour drive to Crown Point. Got to come see the beautiful scenes this weekend.
That's a good one. Let's see, we had the shoot, it's not filled in. But I had a. Yeah, you're looking at some of the. I have a spreadsheet somewhere of all the teams and where they were. Where the distances. It's just crazy. It's crazy. Like even like around the. What schools are those? There's some schools that like literally have no regional. South Vermilion, North Vermilion County has like few schools there, and they're like an hour and a half away from their sectional regionals, and there's nothing else close. So there's like a black hole like over by Terre Haute area of there's no one's hosting any regionals over there.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Well, I think Evansville in general is tough. Like the distance between some of those schools is so great. Like, the east and west way, and north and south. It's far, man.
Yeah.
Middle school state was this past weekend too, so a lot of wrestling there.
Oh yeah, that's what we need. Talk about that. Any what did you, I know you kind of, we were talking about that beforehand, but anything you were seeing there, that any big upsets?
I don't know if a lot of big upsets. Like, there's some guys that are not in the bracket. I think you're only allowed to wrestle 3 times, right? And if you're held back a year, You don't get that fourth one.
You can get a 4 if you start as a 5th grader.
Okay.
I know we had some 5th graders that have wrestled. This like at least one of them wrestled last year, and they wrestled again this year. I don't know. I don't know. I guess you can't get 5. I don't know the exact rules.
I think
They stopped that rule. Okay, so you can wrestle 5 or 6 of them.
yeah, I think I hope not 6. I like that I like that it really like grew because I think 2003 was the first year, I believe, right? And it used to be at Newcastle, and it's really grown as an event. But like you look down and Hector's right, like they do a good job on the youth board. I know I've plugged that a couple times where they have a very good system. They don't do like individual weight class rankings. They do like a top, I think a top 40, I believe. But I think the qualifiers got lost because I don't remember what this was. It COVID or I don't remember what it was. I'm not going to start any rumors. I just know they weren't able to do those. So yeah, I think stacked brackets. You go across the board, you see a lot of like you start seeing like names from like reoccurring names. Like McCammon, obviously there's a Jade McCammon that was really good for a long time. Landon Vega wrestled. I think we know his dad.
His dad was.
So you start seeing a lot of that. Horn, like Travis Horn's kids, in there he's gonna be pretty good. Huddleston won a second one. He's little, man. I thought he was a little bit bigger. I know he did really well at Super 32. He's a little guy. 70. So like when we start looking at the rankings, there's a lot of stuff that we look at and then I like also when they put in there like different names, like they have like some nicknames. I went back. I like to look at like previous years where like 4 years ago, how did all these guys place 4 years ago, and what weights were they, and where are they at now? And like Seth Sarah had like his name in there was like Takedown.
Nice.
Like Connor the Mullet Maddox from Contenders Wrestling Club. I like that. How many 3-time champs this year? 3-time champs? I know there's a lot of guys going for. There hasn't been a ton. I'm sure Hector has a better idea of how many 3 times. I know Brayton was a 3-time. It's a shorter list, but like those are the guys that are wrestling these events that are going to be there.
Yeah.
Like, those guys are going to be wrestling down the road, and I think that's what kind of the reflection is from when you look at previous brackets.
Yeah, there's some. I'm just looking through some of these, and you see a lot of names that. You got a Brady Harper. I'm pretty certain it's not Brad's. It's his brother's son. Another Schaefer coming up. It's interesting to see all these names that are. And there's a Jackson Schaefer. Does he have 3 boys?
I don't know.
Jeez, Catholic family.
Gatz. I was his brother Gatz. Hector said 6.
Oh, wow.
6 all time. I'm sure you can give us the 6 too.
They got another Haynes coming up. We got another Bauman coming up.
Another Rio coming up.
Yeah, we got about a dozen Rios. We just got started with Rios.
I seen. I think Rio's mom coaching one of the middle school teams also.
Yeah, she's coaching. Yeah, she's coaching one of the middle school teams. So
that's good, man. She's been around. She got a lot of guys. Got a lot of experience.
Yeah, it's not like she's a rookie in this sport by any means. So yeah.
And I think we've talked about it a little bit before with like you see a lot of the same teams, Brownsburg, Bulldog Premier, those guys. They're reloading. Like Dickman, 3-time. He'll be able to slide right in that lineup next year, hopefully. And I don't know how big Hockaday is, but I'm sure they'll find a spot for him. You don't leave those guys on the bench usually.
Yeah.
Horn's really good. Kessinger, his brother's doing really good with Floyd right now.
Yeah. Got another Bo coming up, it looks like. Jeezy Pete's.
Gavin Lewis with Peacock Wrestling. I know that's another region club. I know he's pretty solid. I believe he's a Hobart kid. I could be wrong on that though.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they. Usually, I thought they did true seconds, but I guess they're not. They didn't do them this year.
I thought they did true seconds also. I was looking at that.
Unless they did them in the back room or something. Yeah, but there was a ton of kids there. I mean, that was a long day. I mean, it ran well. I think they had like 16 mats or something. So, Just looking at some
I
of
know.
the names. You got a Caesar Salas.
Yes, Caesar. I believe he's a 7th grader too for Maryville.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Jackson Bradley. I think he had a pretty good. He's a Cohen kid. I know he wrestled at IPO.
Yep.
You start seeing some of these guys that are doubling up, and you got IPO. They said they didn't do it because they're using it for Heartland. Landon Hawkins, real tough, coming off a really good Tulsa. Looked like, just looking at the results, like obviously I wasn't there. He didn't give up many points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Evan Stanley, Angelo Vargo, Tillin Fine. That's a pretty good weight. Angelo Vargo, Evan Stanley. 2 region guys, 4-2 in the final. I believe that could be a nice rivalry going forward. Penn and Lowell.
Yeah, Kyle Harden up at 182. He was like, I gotta find his thing because I freaked out last year when I saw him like at 170.
Because I think he used to be like pretty small.
He was 110 in 2020. He's put on 70 pounds. I want to know, Mr. Harden, what are you feeding your kid? Number 1. Number 2, how much does it cost you? You just, jeez. Yeah, because he was like at 65. Where was he last year? Last year's like he wrestled
not
Brewer.
region.
So
yeah, Parker Reynolds, real tough kid. I know he's highly rated. Lucas Bowe, I'm guessing he's gonna be pretty good. And I know his brother's still undefeated.
Yeah. No,
so Buckmaster, I know he's in there too. So it's always interesting to see that, and it's kind of follow that along and see like where those guys end up down the road. I know Kyle Harden was a guy. That was a kid I thought was around forever. That guy has to be ready for high school and he's an 8th grader. But it's a guy that I think that's kind of been in the mix for a while, and you hear a lot about.
Yeah, so he'll probably be. I think he's an 8th grader this year, but yeah, like you said, he's one that seems to be around forever. And I don't know why. I don't know as much with youth kids, but for some odd reason that name has stuck with me, and I'm like, I agree with you. I was like, man, he should be an 8th grader. Heck, he should be a sophomore or junior by this time. So.
I don't know. Are they? I didn't even look at it. Is it archived? It said Thrine and Fargo was really good. I'd like to check that out if it's on there.
Yes, it is. It is archived, and it looks like they cut every match, so it'll be a little easier to find.
Go back and watch that.
Yeah.
So I always like to go back and see how who are the guys. I mean, that's one of those things when you're doing rankings and maybe it's a thin weight, you kind of look back and say, okay, maybe we'll look at some elementary rankings. Who's been on there? I think that's always interesting to look at. But you see a lot of the same guys in the rankings now, and the same guys that are at state are guys that are competing that were at that middle school state 4 years ago. Let me pull that up.
Yeah, that says 2018.
Nathan Smith, Toby Billerman, Reese Courtney, Hayden DeMarco, Preston Haynes, Sarah, Dylan Graham. That's a good weight.
Seth, takedown, Sarah.
The takedown with a 4.
Yes.
Ison, Sang, Dickey, Hammock, Wolf, Vanover, Keaton Morton, all guys that are in the rankings. Lowry, Logan Miller, Lavelle, Julian Weems went from 85.
He's doubled his
Julian
weight.
Weems, Delaney Ruhlman, another guy that jumped up there. Cash Turner, Sergio Lemley, Cheney Chef, Cole Solomon, Elijah Anthony, Logan Frazier, Clody Glithero, 90 to 152. Chris Bond, Sammy Goyne, Brack Hooper, Chris Newman, Johnny Cortez, Ike Rubel in that weight, Brevin Thines in that weight, Eli Johnson in that weight.
Eli Johnson up. You see Goen, you see Newman, but Eli Johnson's the one that's at 170.
Bauman, Watson, Hunter May, KT Nelson.
Jeez.
KT didn't grow like those other guys.
Yeah.
Aiden Torres. Shamert also did not grow. Shammer actually grew less than KT in that. Shammer wrestled 102 as an 8th grader. He's wrestling 113 as a senior.
That's great. That's one thing we were talking beforehand. It's just kind of funny to see some like Bauman's up at 170. Watson's up at 145. May's at 452. No,
52.
Torres at 40, and then you have like Brooks who's at 120.
20. Charlie Houston's at 52.
Yeah.
Lane Gilbert, I believe, was like 110 every year. Lane Gilbert, and he's still 120. Ashton Hayhurst, Carter Thomas, Blaze and Gavin Garcia. Now their teammates were in there, 7th and 8th place.
Yeah. It's interesting seeing some of the names there that, didn't pan out and kind of wondering, where are they?
Yeah, Zeke Seltzer, JJ Conway, Devin Frazier, John Purdy. Not a bad 4 right there.
No, not at
AJ Gunn, Corbin Watson. A couple medals in there. Jesse Mendez, Matthew Kuntz. So you had a little preview if you were there that day. You got a state finals preview.
Curry, Cicerelli, Dole, Abbott, Carson Johnson. Man.
Yeah, Cody Goodwin, Drake Buchanan, Cade Law. Pretty good. Ashton Brandon. This was a crazy one. Ashton Brandon, Russell, middle school 132. He's in the bracket at 126 right now. Cody Goodwin's at 160. Buchanan's at 82. Cade Law's at 160. So
Ashton Brandon, 126.
Yep. So you know what? You guys are doing it wrong. I'm going the other way. Solers, Cruz, Steinbeck. So I think that's one of those events where they've really grown that, and it's been really good. And I think the youth board does a good job of ranking those guys. But you see a lot of people that are, still in the mix. Mm-hmm. I think Kyron Sparks is smaller than he was in high school also. Right now. So Griffin Eisen, Leonardo Calderon, Seth Willems, Isaac Freet. Kyron Sparks, I believe, is wrestling 45, right?
Kyron Sparks. Well, we can.
He's a Franklin Central kid also.
We need to do that article.
Yeah. Kyron Sparks is wrestling 150. I believe he's at 145. The 8th place finisher in that weight, Nolan Skaggs, 220 for Franklin.
Yeah, he's at 145.
Yes. Isaiah Street. I know. I don't know. Different. Lomek, DeMarco's in there. So it's always pretty cool to go back. I honestly don't know. Cale Stockman over Leighton Jones. Schuler, Tavion Jordan. So I think it's always pretty cool. You go back and you look at those weights and, just kind of see, and then, not that bears the rankings. It's not like, well, Aaron Butts placed ahead of Peyton Kendall as a state qualifier. Jacob Johnson at 220. Aaron Butts is still out there. He's with Perry Meridian now. So it's always interesting. I always think that's pretty cool. It's kind of like the freshman, sophomore, like now that they've done freshman, sophomore state, to go back and look where those guys place at. Yeah. Stockman gave it up.
Yeah.
He had a good dub. Leighton Jones, he got a guy, went over a nationally ranked guy.
Yeah, these are 2018 middle school state, so you guys can figure out what grade some of these guys are. But, it's looking at those, and, it's not a set in stone thing that, there's a lot of guys that are come in and do some stuff after. Some don't participate in it. Some, I know, but in this area, we have a weird middle school season. We're right in the middle of middle school season. Some have events on Saturday, and coaches don't want them to leave to go weigh in and things like that. So it's kind of a funky time for, in our area. Some other areas like the region, you guys are done in December. So
yeah, I think there's like a different there's like a different train of thought in there, not to get like so sidetracked. We're so close to Illinois. I think a lot of those guys can, skate over to Illinois and wrestle like IKWF, which is their like Illinois league, and what a lot of those guys wrestle, and don't really wrestle as many middle school like school matches.
Yeah.
So like you'll see like, oh well, my brother was like, oh, like they're posting these conference and they didn't see Landon Hawkins in there. I was like, well, I think that's the same weekend he was at like Tulsa.
Yeah.
And obviously that's a big deal,
Yeah, no, that's
so.
I know some of our kids we have a home tournament on the same day as ISWA State, and I know some kids want to go there. Some kids want, and so I know their coaches are trying to, you're trying to juggle that. You want to do what's best for the kids, but you also want to be a good team player too, and that kind of stuff. And that's always a fun thing to juggle, especially at the middle school level. At the high school level, it's a little bit easier. Obviously, you're not going to be going. The Super 32 isn't in mid-December when you have a big duel with Brownsburg or whatever. So, but it's one of those things that, that kind of stuff is fun to juggle no matter what level you're coaching. So,
yeah, I think it's just interesting to see the different paths. And I think that's a big event. I think it's been pretty prestigious. I think, like I said, like there's only 6 people that's won it. I didn't see if Hector put it in there. I'm sure Jesse is a 3-timer. Dickman's a 3-timer.
Yeah.
I believe Brayton was a 3-timer, right?
It wouldn't surprise me.
Uh, Man, I'm pretty sure.
I
I
I
got
said, I'm
3 of
not
them.
good with the lower level kids. I don't even want to try to. I mean, it wouldn't
Lower
surprise me if
age
he was.
kids.
So
Um, yeah, I would have to. I like to go back. Brayton and Hughes. Oh yeah, Drew was. So pretty good mix of kids. Um, that list is pretty prestigious.
yeah, no, that's pretty interesting to see. So always a good tournament to look at. You know what the future is, what teams are bringing in some hammers. You know, and that's something. I mean, I know you and the other rankers look at for preseason rankings, and you know it is a good forecast of what's coming up in the future. Obviously, it's not exact, but uh,
Does anyone put that on their IndianaMat profile? Middle school state placement?
I'm pretty positive you can.
Should. It's
You
pretty good.
should be
Good
able
indicator.
to. I'm pretty positive. I will double check. Let's see. Middle school state. Yep. You can put that in there. So if you have middle school state placements, put it in there. Mrs. Dickman, you can do that because your kid has a profile because of his Fargo placement. So you can put that in there if you want. Go to homepage and accomplishments, and you can put in all those nice accomplishments. So
I think obviously we do a lot of talking on that, and I think recruiting, like, there's different like avenues to recruit, but I think some of those, like, say like Fargo, like you're gonna have a profile, like that's one that you probably should attend. You know,
yeah, yes,
um, IPO. I think IPO's been huge. I think it's always. I think you look at like IPO; those are the matches that some of those guys, that, especially coming in, that want to be ranked higher, want to try to challenge themselves. Some of those guys, and we've had like younger guys go in there now, 7th and 8th graders, and really do well. Like Landon did really well this year. I know Jesse won it as an 8th grader.
there's a guy that won it as a 7th grader, Nick Lee. He's doing pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. Did he beat Hayden Lee there?
Yes, he did. No. Yes, he did. He beat Hayden, and then Hayden beat him the next year. His 8th grader, he didn't place. So
Yeah,
rough
but
tournament.
yeah, and I think it's always cool to go in those events and see where you're at. I think those guys have a pretty good idea where they're at, but it's just cool to let other people know. And not that it creates this hype for them that's unbearable, but I'm sure, like people are going to know that, Dickman's going to come in and be an impact guy. Like they knew Jesse was coming in to be an impact guy.
Yeah.
I think like he beat like 2 impact guys coming in. Like who did he beat? He beat like Moran and then beat like Littell, right? Like back to back.
Yeah. That was a crazy
Um,
weight class.
yeah, like he doesn't take the easy way. I mean, I don't know. I have to look at it, but not that this is any way it's easy, but I mean, as a freshman, he won with 2 returning champs in there. One was a 2-time champ. Matthew Kuntz is going to have a really good career. He wrestled Matthew under the lights. The next year, he had to beat Borman, who was a returning champ. It's a little like anticlimactic because there's no returning champs in his weight this year.
Yeah. No one wanted to take him on. Let's see who he beat. Beat Thomas Deck, who ended up winning the IPO title. Beat Ray Rio, Moran, Dustin Norris, who I believe signed with Purdue. David Pearson, first round. So
Yeah.
that's a pretty rough. I mean, that's 5 really good guys. Morgan Smith from Columbus North is the only one that, and I think he was a semi-state qualifier. So that's a pretty good day as an 8th grader.
Yeah, not bad at all, right?
Yeah.
And then I believe he won as a 7th grader. I know he won like grappler one year. You look back and he was like a baby there. We were just talking. Hector's in there. The match from Tulsa, whatever happened, because I remember that was a huge win when he won that. What was it? Ramirez.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I remember that kid was like a real, like when they had that kid. I remember that was like a huge win for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was.
I believe it was a kid.
Yeah, that's crazy to think of. Looking at guys like that that you don't hear of anymore. That were at that kind of level, especially as a 7th, 8th grader. Yeah, I'm sure he'll comment where he's at and what he's doing maybe took up baseball.
Good, man.
So,
Good sport too.
Yep. Yeah. So, anything else we want to? Not sure, but him, Drusus, and Miss battled at that Illinois State tournament. Okay.
I was hanging out with Mike Drusus this weekend.
Jeez.
One of the best, man.
Yeah. So, anything else we want to talk about? We got a big week of wrestling, as always. And we'll be back on. And we'll be back next Monday. Mondays are good nights to have our Gorilla Radio gets my week out of the biggest thing in my week out of the way, and we're gonna be lots to talk about on Monday. So
I hope everyone, hopefully
next week. I don't know because of usually we do 2 shows for semi-state week, don't we? Kind of go over the brackets.
Because we can run those things like 4 hours.
Yes. So I'm probably looking to do that. So we'll figure it out off the air, what days we're gonna go and what kind of fun we're gonna have. Monday Rocco has a big match at DeKalb, so we're gonna win the DeKalb World Championships.
Let's go! What do you get if you win?
Start getting medals and collecting medals. Next week we're going to Tulsa then, right?
Hey man, we talked about that last week in development and all that stuff. So I'm not. It's always interesting. I think that was like one of those cool things. And someone like, oh man, you guys really went on a rant there. I was like, yeah. Hopefully, hopefully the snow doesn't get too crazy. If you're a kid and you're watching, go out and shovel some old person's driveway. Get some good karma. Get some good karma in your life.
Yep, get some good karma. Get some good public. I mean, honestly, it's a great exercise. If you can't have practice, but it's also good. Makes it looks good for not only yourself, your family, but also your team and the sport. So, go shovel some driveways, shovel some sidewalks. Come over to Victory Bay. I haven't done mine yet from the last snow, so sorry about that.
Then that's probably why they're trying to kick you out of the home association.
Yes.
I
only got one of those letters once because we had 2 swing sets in our yard.
I think hopefully it doesn't I hope it doesn't mess up anyone's training schedule and everyone's able to compete and stay healthy. I think this is the time of year you don't want to see injuries or anything like that. You want to see everyone able to compete. Mm-hmm. You don't want to see anyone get knocked out. If you get knocked out, it's not the end of the world, but you don't want to see anyone get injured.
Yep. All good calls from the refs.
Go shovel Larry's. If you're a Crown Point kid, go help Larry out, man. He's a good guy.
I see it. Yep. I mean, there's a lot of Crown Point rushers. I know they help out in the community. They do a good job of that. So I'm sure if Larry send his address to Coach Lorick, I'm sure there'll be a couple kids over there shoveling his driveway.
Yeah, I mean it's good karma for life, man. Good things that happen to good people, I think.
Yep. So, I think we're good for this week. Excited for another great week of wrestling. Only a couple weeks left, unfortunately. So we gotta get, we gotta get our shows in. So, we're gonna let you guys go. We'll be back next Monday and probably another day to talk semi-state. So we'll see you guys next week.